Hello, I'm Bood and welcome to the channel. As always, thanks for joining me. It's massively appreciated. It always is. Your view is the most important thing to me. But if you're feeling generous, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Get involved in the comments. I would love to know what you think. And if you really want to help my channel out, you can always become a patron. If you're already a patron, keep your eye out on the Patreon messages because I'll be messaging you any minute now, asking for your details for your player in my up and coming custom series. But for now, we're here with another episode of All or Nothing. I've done a couple of these recently. I really enjoy putting little experiments and things together. And I've done another one. It's All or Nothing, the European Super League. Now, if you're a long-time sub of mine, you might know many years ago, way before the actual European Super League, I created some databases I put out there, which were fun to play. I think in the game, it's a great idea. In reality, it's not. Now, some of you may be thinking, I've created one of those databases again and I've made a European Super League. Well, I haven't. This video is completely different. What I've decided to do is severely punish the 12 clubs that want to form the European Super League. And we're going to jump forward 20 years into the future and we're going to see what's happened to them and what's happened to their respective leagues in England, Italy and Spain without them teams in it. But what have I done? Well, I put a little graphic together and I'm going to tell you. So then what I've decided to do with this experiment is punish them, like I've just said. And this is exactly how I've punished them. So all teams are going to be relegated to lower divisions within their countries. Bit different for the different countries, but it is what it is. All players over 21 years old are going to be removed from their squads and put out there into the free market. All owners and staff have been removed. All sponsorships have been removed. That'll hurt Manchester United. I've placed every single team, all 12 of them, under a 1-year transfer ban. And they will all be starting this experiment with minus 50 million in the bank. Any team that won a title or a cup in the previous season has had it stripped and it's been given to someone else. They've all been removed from the European competitions. They've not been banned, but they've been removed. So even though they've been demoted and they qualify for the Champions League, that's been taken away from them. All their reputations have been lowered too. So on average, these kind of clubs are in and around the 9,000 mark. They've all been put down to 4,000. And season ticket and match day prices have also been drastically reduced. Now, some things haven't been changed. 3 mainly, and of course we all know the most important part of any football club is its fans. So I've not reduced their fan numbers, I've not reduced their season ticket numbers either, and they're all going to be keeping their stadiums and their training grounds. So with all the teams being relegated, which I'm going to show you in a minute, I've of course had to bump other teams up, and I've just used the in-game reputations for those teams. So teams have just gone up within leagues. So this is the Premier League now without the 6 teams of the 12. Half of them were English, which is a bit embarrassing. Don't forget the Germans and the French didn't get involved. So yeah, 6 teams of course have left the Prem, and the title just went to the highest placed team, which was Leicester. And that's the same thing with Europe. I've gone into the editor and I've changed it all. So the next 4 teams down got into the Champions League and so on and so on. And that's happened across all the 3 leagues. A quick look at La Liga. This has got 3 teams out of it: Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid and Barcelona. And then on to Serie A, which of course has now lost Juventus, Milan and Inter. So it could make this really interesting. This is what I wanted to see. Can these clubs recover from such a heavy punishment? And who's going to emerge out of the shadows and take over in these countries, become the new dominant forces really? And what was also cool is all them players that are now free agents. And initially you're thinking, oh, PSG and Bayern, they'll snap them up. But this is the start of a save. They've got their squads locked in. They're not going to have tons of wiggle room in their wages to take on a load of superstars. It's going to be up to everyone else to mop it up. And it's got quite interesting. So what I've done is I started up a regular save and I made a short list of all the players I've released. And we're going to jump forward 1 year first. And I can import that shortlist so we can have a look at where some of these major players ended up. Of course, let's just check on our 12 teams, and of course 6 teams for England wanted to form the European Super League. So 6 teams have been relegated, and I've kept them in the Football League. They've gone down to League 2, and England, the English teams really are the teams that I think have probably been punished the most because they've been relegated an extra level really, I suppose, than any of the other teams. And they're all in the same league competing to get out of it. So someone's going to get a head start. But then it all depends on who had the best youth players. They've got to be 20 years old and younger. So, you know, I was expecting City and United, they've got really good young players to do quite well. But can they recover in 20 years? I know they've lost all that money. They've lost all them great staff members. They've lost the rich owners. They're starting off minus 50 million in debt in League Two. They can't sign anyone the first year. But can their fans carry them through? Even though they're not making as much money on season tickets, can they push them on? And can they grow and get back to where they belong? Over to Spain, they've dropped down 2 divisions. I could have gone further, but I've not. I quite liked it. Doing it a bit different. So they've gone down to the Primera division, and there's 2 groups. So in Group 1, we've got Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid. Over to Group 2, Barcelona are in here on their own. So they've got a really good chance of bouncing back, haven't they? On to Italy, and our 3 teams from Italy have gone down to Serie C, which has 3 different groups, so 1 team in each group. So they've also got a good chance of bouncing back if they've got decent enough youth players. So in Group A, we've got Inter Milan. In Group B, we've got Milan, as you can see. And this is a really interesting level, I think, of Italian football. It can be a lot of fun to play on any save. And finally, on to Group C, where we have Juventus. So there they all are. And if we use Juventus as an example, you'll see they've got no manager. All the managers have gone. They'll have some staff that the computer will fill in the blanks with, but they'll be crappy regens. They've all got new owners, but they're just average regen owners. You know, Man City have lost the Sheik. Everyone's lost everybody, which I think should be good. They're all starting from scratch. But of course, they've still got the same stadium. They're still going to have the same amount of fans that they would have had anyway. But the season ticket prices proper dropped. Some teams like £1,000 a season ticket, £800. So they've all got a £200 season ticket, and they've all got £20 for an average ticket. And you might be able to see behind my head that yellow writing right there. They're under a transfer ban until next summer, and everybody, like I said, got in the editor, put the detail into it, I think, have been relegated, rapidly dropped. Can they bounce back? Well, we're going to find out. So I've now jumped forward to the 1st of June 2022, and this is my imported shortlist of all the players that were released from those 12 clubs, and we know there are some absolute legends. And you can see here, a lot of them have been picked up. Paris Saint-Germain have got a couple, Bayern have got a couple, but they've really been spread out. Like West Ham, Leicester have got stuck in there, and it's pretty cool. Now, I'm not going to go for every single player, of course. Sergio Aguero playing for Ajax. It's quite sad seeing that, isn't it? Because he's not playing now, is it? But Kevin De Bruyne, he went to Leicester. Ronaldo at Leicester. That'll be good. I thought Newcastle would have snapped a load up because they've got a ton of money. I'm expecting Newcastle, to be fair, to dominate, and I don't know, because I've left it holidaying indefinitely while I was at work and while I was in bed last night. So I've got to the point of 20 years, and then we're going to open that save file up and see. But I expected Newcastle. I mean, they've got Van Dijk. Just because they've got the money compared to anyone else. But that's what's going to be cool. These teams are going to be getting in the Champions League. Teams maybe like Leicester and West Ham and Everton, to be fair. Maybe even a Leeds and so on, Aston Villa. So they're going to get more money. They're going to grow. They're going to become the new dominant force. So yeah, look at that. I'll go through it slowly for you. But I mean, it would take absolutely ages, because how many players? 12 teams, all their stars, quality players, some of the best players on the game went to some right random places. So what I've decided to do is, just for fun, in case you want to have a play, is if you check the description down below, you'll find a save file for the start of this. So maybe you want to become one of these new other teams without the big teams there and have a play. Or maybe you want to take over one of these 12 clubs that have been demoted for the challenge of it. But I'll also put a link down there so you can download this shortlist. So while we're here, let's just check in on that first season before we jump forward all the way to the end. And of course, we're here in England, Sky Bet League 2, and Arsenal won the title. United and City have been promoted, and Chelsea beat Spurs on penalties in the playoffs. So Spurs aren't going up that first year. And where's Liverpool? I thought Liverpool would be good. So let's just quickly check on each team, see who came in, manager-wise anyway. And Arsenal won the league with Jonathan Woodgate as their manager. And we've still got a couple of good players. Saka, of course, cracking player. And William Saliba I've got him on loan at Building Venezia. He's brilliant, to be fair. If you've not checked that series out, go and look on my channel, find it. I love playing that, it's fantastic. Manchester United have got Neil Wood as their manager. Still got Brandon Williams, still got some good players like Alanga, Menji, they're good. I'll be honest, I thought City were going to win this league. They've got Neil Harris as the manager, mainly because they stockpile young players and they've got a lot of them. Chelsea brought in John Terry. That's pretty cool, to be fair. Spurs have got someone called Mark Jackson, I'll be honest with you. I haven't got a clue, but it's got Troy Parrott, who's a good player, scored 26 goals. Oliver Skip, not a bad player either. Now, they may have done pretty average, finishing 12th, but I think that is absolutely awesome. And I wish I knew she's in the game. I genuinely didn't know she was in the game. Emma Hayes, cracking manager. I'm gonna have to get her face sorted out. Seriously, that is brilliant. Unfortunately, she didn't do great. Hopefully she can keep a job. Over to Spain and Group 1 of the Primera Division, and Real Madrid won the league by 2 points, with Atletico 10th. They've brought in someone called Fernando Esteves. Hasn't got a face. I don't know who he is, I'll be completely honest with you. But one thing with these Spanish teams is they've got the B teams, haven't they, and so on. So they might have been able to use them to help them. Atletico Madrid have got Luis Cambranos. Yeah, bit disappointing for them finishing 10th. Thought they'd be pushing up higher easily. Thought they'd both go up. Over to Group 2, and Barcelona didn't let themselves down. I mean, they've got some cracking young players, to be fair, and they've won that league by 10 points. Jose Ramon Sandoval as their manager, and they've still got Ansu Fati. And that is another thing. Some of these teams got some cracking young players still that were under 21. Don't mean they're going to keep him, though, is it, really? Because get this first season out of the way and big clubs are going to come sniffing. Over to Italy and Serie C, Group A, and Inter Milan finished 14th with Alberto Bellini as their manager. Well, it's not looking good for the Italian teams, is it? They're struggling. They're lacking in depth. And if you are wondering, a lot of these clubs obviously have got young players out on loan. They'd cancel all the loans. So any player that was 20 and under that was out on loan, it got removed just to give them a bit of a chance. And they have Maurizio Damizzi as their manager, and Daniel Maldini as their leading goal scorer with 8 goals. Again, I've got him at Building Venezia, my right winger. He's a cracking little player, to be fair. I can't see him keeping hold of him for too long. Well, there you go, finally. Save some face for the Italian teams. Juventus won Group C. A couple of points, but they're up and they're on their way. With Luigi Di Canio as the manager and Keo George. So, I mean, he's not a bad player, is he? Hans Nicolosi Caviglia, he ain't bad either. Now, actually, before we jump forward, I've just got to say, there's a lot of top managers out there obviously got released as well. And I thought they'd all jump into jobs, but jobs aren't available just yet. Now, they will become available, and these guys are not going to stay unemployed for long. But if we just check on, say, the big 3 of the Premier League, after they've all got released, none of them have got a job just yet. Just in case you were wondering. So, welcome to the 1st of June 2041. We're going to have a look at each club first and see roughly what they've been up to in a bit of detail. I'm going to start right here with Juventus, who are currently managed by John Terry. And they've also recovered and got back to the top flight over the last 20 years. Now, there's their promotion after being drastically relegated down to Serie C. And they've slowly worked their way back up to Serie A, where they had a stint for a little bit, got relegated, came back up, got relegated. And then when they finally got up in 2031, they've stayed there, getting a bit better and a bit better. And they've currently finished here in 8th and then 11th. So they're back there. They're not what they were, but they're a consistent Serie A team, and they've got John Terry. John freaking Terry is the manager. And to be fair, when it comes to any major finals, they've got to the Coppa Italia this year and lost it. Over to Milan now, and they're managed by Clarence Seedorf, a former player, and I think he had a short stint as a manager, if I'm right. And they are in Serie A. And it took them a while to get into Serie B, and they spent a long time there, slowly working their way up. Did get into Serie A, got relegated, come back up, and then they've been fairly average since. And they've not managed to reach any finals, nothing major. Over to Inter Milan, and they're managed by Luca Valzania. Don't know too much about him, although that home kit is just one of the best kits I've ever seen. I absolutely adore it. And they're still in Serie B. Although, to be fair to them, they have had a stint in Serie A, even though it took them forever to get into B, and they spent forever in B. And then when they went up, they came straight back down. Although they are actually, at this point, in the playoffs of the game's second leg, I think, of the semi or whatever it is to go. So there's a chance they could go up. And they too haven't reached any finals. What a shame. Let's head over to Spain now. And we'll start with Real Madrid, because they've not done bad, have they? If if you look at the very top. They're managed by Jose Fonte. And they have regained their powers, and one of these teams had to, and they're the first one to do it. So you can see a bit of floundering around here. Gone up into La Liga, come back down, gone up, and then worked the way up slowly. And looks like they've won a couple of titles. 1, 2, finished runners-up last year, and now they've won it again. So they've won 3 La Liga titles. Not only that, they won the Europa Conference. Fair play. In 2036, they won a couple of Super Copas and, of course, the titles. But what about their great rivals, Barcelona? Well, they're in La Liga, and they're managed by Xavi Martinez, who is like an average player, I think. Osasuna, I think, at the start of the game. But have they done as well? Well, no, but at least they're in the top flight again. I mean, they spent forever here. Finally got up in 2034, and then they've been like a mid-table team ever since. And they've failed to do anything. So fair play to Real Madrid. Real Madrid have really sorted their stuff out, haven't they? Now over to the other side of Madrid with Club Atletico Madrid. And they've been the most disappointing out of the 3 because they're still in the Smart Bank, and they're managed by a regen called Alvaro Camargo, and they've never got back to La Liga. Took them forever to get into the Smart Bank, and then they've been a bit average ever since, and they have never ever got near any kind of final. Now over to England, and we're going to start with what I think is the biggest shock of this little experiment, to be fair, and it's Liverpool, who find themselves 20 years into the future in League One, managed by some dude called Cameron Congreve. Now they took a couple of years to get out of League 2, and they've spent forever in League 1, and I'm just a bit baffled by it a little bit. I don't know why, because it's still a big club, got a lot of fans, and you think that might have pushed them on through. And I mean, anything can happen in this. Could be bad management signings, bad transfer signings, I don't know, but that just really has surprised me. Although they have won a Papa John's trophy, so well done to the Scousers, eh? It's not bad. It is some teams that won shit. Next up, we've got Tottenham Hotspur, who are in the Championship, managed by Matty Taylor. Now, they've been here, there, and everywhere by the looks of that graph. Got into League 1, then got relegated. Got into League 1, stayed there for a while, and then they've been in and out of the Championship, where they currently find themselves bottom half table kind of team. And they've won the Papa John's trophy twice. That's something, innit? Spurs fans. It's a trophy, innit? Next up, we've got Arsenal, who too are in the Sky Bet Championship. They're managed by Lee Johnson. And onto their graph. Yeah, got into League 1, stayed in the Championship for a bit, got relegated, back in League 1 for a bit, got back into the Championship, where they've stayed ever since. I mean, it looks like they got close, 4th. So I'm guessing that was playoffs, and they didn't get through. And then they just currently finished 7th. Onto their landmarks. Have they won a Papa John's trophy? No, they lost the Papa John's trophy. Twice. Next up, we're on to Manchester City, and they're in the Sky Bet Championship, and they've got loads of good youngsters. I thought they would fly through. One cool thing is, if you're a City fan, one of their greatest ever players, he was a fantastic player, Vincent Kompany, is their current manager. And they've been around, they've done bits, but obviously without their super rich owner, they've never really been able to recover. Although we do know from history that when City went down in the leagues, they still packed out that stadium, probably more than they do today. Have they managed to win anything? Any Papa John's knocking about? No. Now we're on to my team, Manchester United, and they are in the Premier League. For now. They're managed by Gabriel Milito. And fair play, they've had stints in and out. Struggle, aren't they? I mean, Real Madrid, the only team that's really, at the minute, busted it and got up there and won titles and got back to where they belong. I mean, I'm surprised. I put them under a lot of restrictions. I really put them up against the wall, punished them hard. But I thought a lot more teams would back up there and be like top 4, top 5 easy. Come on, Man U, have you won anything? Oh, Papa John's back in 2023. We're loving the Papa John, aren't we? Last but not least, Chelsea in the Premier League. And still in the Premier League, managed by a former manager, an absolute legend of the club, Frank Lampard. And it's a similar thing. Obviously, they took a few years to get back into the Championship, spent a long time there. Looks like they've had a few close shaves with getting promotion. Finally got promotion by finishing 2nd. Stayed a year, got relegated, up, down, and they've been pretty average since. Onto their landmark competitions. If you've got a Papa John's, you're in the Papa John Club. They're not in the club. They didn't want to join it. Who's been winning the Premier League without him? Well, Leicester won the first one after obviously getting given the title the year before. It was took away from Manchester City. And then West Ham Won 5 on the run. Everton, Leicester, Newcastle got 2, then West Ham. Leicester got 3, Aston Villa got a couple, Newcastle got 3, and Aston Villa have just won it. On to the FA Cup, and this got well interesting. Newcastle, West Ham have done well. Brighton got back-to-back. Leicester, Watford, Burnley got one. That is epic. Norwich got one. Newcastle have just won it though. Fair play. I love stuff like this when it becomes random and interesting. On to the Carabao Cup, and again, became way more interesting. Brentford won it. West Ham have picked up some trophies, haven't they? Palace have got in there. Wolves, Watford, Fulham. That's pretty cool. And of course, the Papa John's. Got to look at this. I didn't think I was going to, but we are. Obviously, United there. Liverpool, Spurs, bloody hell. Over to La Liga. And these are the teams that won. And it's the guys I thought would probably do well. Real Sociedad, Bilbao, Sevilla got in there as well. And then obviously Real Madrid. They've got 3 titles. They've came back and they've come back in style. Over to the Copa del Rey, if you're interested. And again, similar teams. Although Levante have got in there, quite like that. Over to Serie A, a league I love playing football in this country on this game. Absolutely adore it. I'm on to my second series in Serie A this year on FM22. I've done my Bologna rebuilding series, and now I'm doing my building series with Venezia. And I was hoping Venezia might do quite well, but it don't look that way. But it's been dominated there by Roma, Napoli, Atalanta have gone a couple of times, Empoli got in, and then Empoli have won the last 3. Onto the Coppa Italian again, Napoli, Roma, Empoli. Atalanta obviously won the last one. But yeah, it looks like Napoli and Roma have become the new force, haven't they? Lazio and Fiorentina and stuff like that are a bit behind, but fair play Juve, getting to a final, nearly back, aren't they? Onto the Champions League, and if you're a West Ham fan, how cool is this? Also, if you're a West Ham fan, keep your eyes out for future videos. A special one-off video coming out on my channel, could be in a month, featuring West Ham, which I can't wait to share with you. It should be something different. I've never done it before. But yeah, West Ham won the first 5 Champions Leagues back to back. Bayern got in there, Villa got one, which is great. West Ham are back in there, PSG have got a couple. Then Villa have been freaking brilliant the last few years, battling out with Bayern. Onto Europa League, and this is cool. Look at this. Good spread of teams. Teams like Brighton winning one, Celta, Wolves, Wolfsburg, Villa have won a couple. I like it. I don't know why. I love it. And of course, now we've got 20 years of the Europa Conference. Obviously, the 3rd division of Europe. Rangers won one. That's awesome. Obviously, Athens. I think we knew about Athens, didn't we? Palace have got in there. Wolves as well. Brighton have done well out of this. We've seen Brighton a few times. So I just want to check in on a couple of the big managers. Now, Pep Guardiola is now 70 and he wants to be a director of football. But he did have a career. Obviously, he didn't get picked up that first year, did he? Ended up becoming Spain manager for 2 years. Real Sociedad manager. Then he was England manager as well. West Ham manager. Aston Villa manager. Empoli manager. Holland manager. So a lot of them trophies for them teams, they had Pep as a manager. Now on to Jurgen Klopp, and of course he didn't get picked up either that first year, but he did eventually, having a stint at Wolves not long, Atalanta, Germany, then Villa manager, so he could have won some of them trophies too. And then he's become a scout in his old age for Hamburg, Wolfsburg, and now Fortuna Dusseldorf. Now on to Thomas Tuchel, or Tuchel, however you want to say it. He got picked up in 2023 by Newcastle, then he went back to Germany, then Southampton, then West Ham. Wow, Wolfsburg. And now he's Germany manager. Well, he was Germany manager till last year because he's currently unemployed at 67 years old. And there we go. That is the end of All or Nothing, the European Super League. Really appreciate you taking the time to watch it. Again, it's just a bit of fun in the editor. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Proper punished him. Maybe severely punished him. It is what it is. But it's good to see what could happen. A lot of things involved. You never know. Like I said, managers, bad signings. Who had the best youth players really left to start them out. But I mean, Chelsea, you'd say, did the best, didn't you? In England, Real Madrid, of course, did the best in Spain. And Juve, I'd say, did the best in Italy. Like I say, it's not a race. It wasn't a race to see who could come out on top. But it was good to see. And if I could be bothered, we could go another 20 years in the future. If this gets a ton of views and enough of you asking, I might do another 20 years. Let's go to 2061 maybe. Let me know if you think that's a good thing, and we'll have a look if any of them can actually recover properly. Or are they doomed? Have I ruined them forever? Some of the teams I've ruined, I'm quite happy about. Hopefully my Manchester United can get promoted. We'll see. Anyway, thanks as always for joining me. Hit the thumbs up and stay happy and stay safe. Go and check out some of the content if you aren't already, especially building Venezia. You know you want to. I'm Booed. Bye-bye.